Oh, Eric Musselman unable to coach for the Razorbacks this weekend against LSU. He will also miss the game after that and maybe a little bit more. We'll see when he's recovering from shoulder surgery. Hey, look, all these texts are just coming right in here. Our text machine was dead I was wondering, where's all the texts? Now we just got 20 of them just like that.
Oh, wow.
That's what happens when you bring Aaron Torres onto a radio show, because he gets reactions from people. And here they are, 20, 25, 30 texts just came in right now, AT. I guess they knew you were here. How you doing?
I heard that the reason the texts are coming in is because it's someone's birthday. Happy birthday, Phil. What are we doing tonight? Where are we going? Who are we seeing? What's the deal?
I'm getting the kids. We're going to hang out here at home, and they're going to sing to me, and they're going to hug on me, and that's pretty much it. It's going to be a laid-back Friday night. Saturday is going to be so cold and rainy, we're probably just going to stay in and watch Arkansas LSU. Sunday's women's basketball game that they'll come to me. I don't think we're going to do any crazy stuff, but you can do the crazy stuff for me.
Yeah, my Saturday involves watching Arkansas LSU basketball and then doing radio. So basically, I have the exact same weekend planned, only with less cake, probably a few less hugs. Don't have any hugs planned, on the day planner right now. But we'll see where the weekend takes me. You never know,
Yeah. Well, give me a picture in your mind. You know Eric Musselman fairly well. I mean, you've had him on your podcast numerous times, and I think you got to know him way before he even joined at Arkansas. So if you could picture what Muss will be like, let's just look at for the LSU game on Saturday. I thought if there was any basketball coach that would try to get the Hugh Freeze treatment and coach a game from a gurney courtside, it would be Muss. But tell me what you think it'll be like for him tomorrow.
Oh, it's going to be miserable. And it goes back. I mean, last year, never forget, he had to miss, I believe, one game, maybe two with COVID. And he was miserable then. And I know he talked about it then, and I know he talked about it now. My only real thought was, my understanding of things, and only Coach Muss knows, but this was pretty tough for him to deal with. And you talk about a coach that's going to get the Hugh Freeze bed treatment. I was thinking, if there's one coach that's going to try to gut this out and coach with one arm for the next 8 weeks, 10 weeks, whatever, it's Eric Musselman. And so I think the fact that he did get surgery is a reflection on how bad this is. And maybe this is the jolt that the team needs. I mean, maybe, him not being there, one, will rally the team, but two, he's such an emotional coach. He's such a hands-on coach in practice that I can't even imagine what these practices have been like. Forget the games with Coach Muss, kind of coaching with one arm. So, it's pretty serious if he decided to get the surgery mid-season, but it had to be done. I hope him a speedy recovery, but again, it speaks to me how much the pain must have been, or how much he felt like his coaching was being hindered, because he wouldn't have done this. He wouldn't want to give up a game or two or three, as you referenced, Phil, unless he absolutely had to.
Yeah, he says he doesn't sleep well after a loss. I don't think he was sleeping well after wins, because he had to sit up and sleep, and that's never going to be fun. Well, so, and I think another thing that could be big for tomorrow's game is whether or not Kamani Johnson is available. I mean, this is one of the guys that I've been talking about the last few weeks that I think has an edge that's been missing a bit. And it's the same about Trey Wade. Both of them were in a very interesting starting lineup in the Missouri game. And, LSU is really strong in a lot of areas, but when you have Tari Eason and Darius Days doing what they do, I feel like you need guys with a little size that play with a little gur, and that's missed from Arkansas before the Missouri game.
Well, and it's something we've talked about for, frankly, since even before the season started, is trying to figure out what the lineups are going to be, who works together. And I don't claim to have all the answers, but obviously whatever they did on Wednesday night against Missouri certainly helped. And I think this is something that the three of us have been talking about now for like 2.5 months, is that when you're constantly turning over your roster, and by the way, it's not just Arkansas. This is all of college basketball right now. Alabama is not playing very well with a bunch of new guys. Kentucky is still trying to figure things out with injuries. You go on down the list. The point that I'm trying to make is it's not easy to bring in 7-8 new guys every year. And I know Arkansas has 3-4 returnees from last year, but it's not easy. And so this is going to be an ongoing process. Maybe they figured out something against Missouri. I'm not going to come on here on a Friday and claim that everything is solved, because I don't think anybody believes that. But maybe that is what you need. And the one thing I will say, Phil, is I agree with you on what you said about LSU 100% is, I know that Will Wade has a reputation. I know that if you're not an LSU fan, you probably don't like him. But he's got a bunch of junkyard dogs this year, and they get after it, and they play really hard, and they defend really hard. And the other thing, too, is they're coming in at less than 100%, too, without their lead guard, Xavier Pinson, who I don't believe is expected to play tomorrow. So, whether it's the lineups, whether it's whatever, you're going to be in for a fist fight with this particular LSU team. And if you're not going to bring your hard hat, you're going to struggle against them tomorrow.
Yeah, AT. I mean, the way that LSU plays defensively, I mean, they're probably one of the best defensive teams in all of college basketball. And I think they're clear-cut second best team in the SEC. But the best team is coming off the big win earlier this week against their Iron Bowl rivalry on the hardwood, Alabama. Auburn has been playing phenomenal basketball. I mean, only having one loss thus far. Where do you see them ranked as far as nationally, though? Because we know they're number one in the SEC. Where would you put them in your power rankings right now in men's college basketball?
Yeah, I think there's two different questions to ask about Auburn and frankly, any team is when you ask, I know you didn't ask this, Drew, but just a metaphorical ask, asking who is the best team in college. I don't know if there is a best team this year. I mean, last year there were two teams that were head and shoulders above everybody else, and it's not to say that somebody can't emerge, whether it is Auburn, whether it is LSU, whether it is Duke, whether it is Kansas, whoever. But when you talk about the team that I believe is deserving of being the number one ranked team in the country come Monday, which would be the first time in school history, it's Auburn if they win this weekend. They got to take care of Ole Miss, but they came into week number 4. As you said, they have not lost since Thanksgiving week to my UConn Huskies in double overtime. It's worth noting. So one loss in double overtime. And I know that Alabama isn't playing great right now on the hardwood, but that was a great win the other night. I mean, Walker Kessler, who's one of the most impactful players in the country on the defensive end, goes down early with foul trouble. They work through it. They figure it all out. And so if they were to win this weekend, I think they're deserving of the number one team in the country. Are they definitively the best? Am I guaranteeing that they're going to a Final Four, they're competing for a national? I can't guarantee that. Obviously, it's only the middle of January, but I think right now they're deserving of all the praise they get. And Bruce Pearl, once again, man, you give him, and he's another one, right? There's so many coaches like this. You give him a normal offseason with a normal roster. Obviously, last year they had an NCAA self-imposed ban. You give him, normal settings, he's going to have success, and he's doing it once again. This is basically a 15, 20-year track record that he has in the SEC of you give Bruce Pearl time, you give Bruce Pearl a normal offseason, he's going to have his team rocking and rolling.
Mm-hmm. Another team in college basketball, and this is where you are right now, that I think has shocked a lot of people. Number 5 USC, 14-1, lost a few days ago to Stanford on the road. Are they legit, or have they just not really played the toughest schedule or really played, high-quality talent yet?
I will tell you this. I've been doing interviews across the SEC footprint for probably half a decade now. First time, Drew, that I've ever been asked about USC basketball in an SEC market. I don't even think I get asked about USC basketball in L.A. Listen, first of all, what I would say is, and living in L.A., I do think I have kind of a unique perspective on this. USC basketball is not an easy job. Don't think because the football program is great or it's the pack. No, it's a tough job because it is a football school. It's what Bruce Pearl has to deal with at Auburn. It's what Nate Oates maybe had to deal with before he got there. It's not an easy place, and the campus is kind of in the middle of the city, and the arena isn't easy to get to. And I don't think people realize how good Andy Enfield has been there. I mean, last year, obviously they make an Elite Eight, but you go through the years, they would have made the tournament the year that it gets canceled. One year they were literally the first team out of the tournament. So you're talking about a 6-7 year stretch where 3 NCAA tournaments, it would have been 4 if there was a 2020 NCAA tournament. And 1 year they were the last team out. And so now, as you said, they're a top 10 team. And I do kind of wonder some of the schedule stuff. And I think they even kind of in that building kind of say, like, we don't know as much about our team as we'd like because we beat some good teams in the out-of-conference, but we haven't played UCLA yet. We haven't played Arizona yet. They'll play Oregon this weekend. So, for the tens of USC basketball fans in Arkansas right now, and in the area, I still think there's a lot to be decided. But I think it's a great question by you, Drew, because I think this is one of the most underappreciated programs. Kind of what Andy Enfield is doing, I think, is applicable again to what Bruce Pearl has done at Auburn, at a place that has essentially never had basketball success. Andy Enfield's doing it here in Los Angeles in the Pac-12 footprint.
Your thought on Super NFL Wild Card Weekend here? Because usually Wild Card Weekend can be the best weekend of NFL playoffs. Is there one game that you pick out amongst all of these others that you think could be the best? Or if you have any gambling advice on them too, because we usually hit on that with you too.
Yeah, a couple quick thoughts. First of all, as a guy who started my own business within the last 6 months, I continue to be amazed by the business of the NFL, which has obviously added 2 wild card games in the past year. Now they're going to play on Monday night. It's like we're just getting to a point, Phil. We're just going to I think if you see, Phil, you're old enough to remember. You ever see the movie Basketball?
Yeah.
There's a scene where Al Michaels and Bob Costas are calling the basketball playoffs, and they go for like 6 months at a time. And it's like, that's what I feel like the NFL is eventually going to be. It's going to be just, 40 weeks a year, and I'm being hyperbolic, but the way that we cover the NFL, now the NFL playoffs, now we have a Monday night playoff game, then it's straight to free agency, then it's straight to the combine, then it's straight to the draft, then it's straight to minicamp. I'm just amazed how they continue to create new ways to get people excited about NFL football. And in terms of the games themselves, listen, something that a memory that Arkansas fans probably don't want to think about, but the team I'm most excited to see is the one that had 2 guys that were just playing Arkansas a few years ago, and that's the Cincinnati Bengals with Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase. I mean, last time they took the field, it's not hyperbole, to say that Joe Burrow outplayed Patrick Mahomes, that Jamar Chase looked like the best young wide receiver in this sport. And so did we all catch him on an awesome day? Yeah. But I think we saw between LSU and, of course, early in Jamar Chase's career, how dynamic these two can be together. So you have those two going up against, obviously, a Raiders team, very emotional win on Sunday night, wild game, our boy Brandon Staley and his analytics. So that's probably the game that stands out most to me. I think we're all just excited about to see what the potential of Joe Burrow and Jamar Chase is over these next few years in the NFL.
Yeah, I think you're right. AT, we're up against it, man. Hope you have a great weekend. Thanks for the birthday wishes, and appreciate you, man. Thank you so much.
No problem. We'll talk soon. Happy birthday, Phil.
Thank you. You got
Thanks,
it.
AT.
BetOnline would like to wish you a happy new betting year as we continue our march to the playoffs and beyond. BetOnline remains the #1 spot for all the best sports wagering action for 2022. New year and a new updated desktop and mobile wagering to sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. Just use our promo code BELIEVE to get started. That's BLEAV. From football, basketball, hockey, boxing, and UFC, right to your favorite Vegas casino games. Don't wait to take advantage of all the amazing offers available for 2022. BetOnline is the fastest and easiest way to wager on all your favorite sports. BetOnline, where the game starts.